the point of this activity that we just did? Okay, so if we have the guy waking himself up, we use that reflexive pronoun. But what happens if he is waking up the baby? Don't need a reflexive pronoun. If she is cutting the cake versus cutting her hair, what's the difference? Okay. Reflexive pronoun if the action is reflected back to the subject. If she is not cutting anything on herself, hopefully she doesn't cut herself when she cuts the cake, then you don't need the reflexive pronoun. What's the difference between these two? Afeitar-se is the verb on your vocab for that one. What is afeitar-se? To shave. So to shave oneself, need a reflexive pronoun if you're doing it to yourself. But what if you're shaving the cat? Might be dangerous. Okay. Do we understand that we only need a reflexive pronoun if the action's reflected back to the subject? Everybody okay with that? Okay. Reason why I'm mentioning that is because today we're going to talk about direct object pronouns. Up until now, we've talked about reflexive pronouns. You're only going to use a reflexive pronoun if the action's reflected back to the subject. This is a whole different kind of pronoun. So listen to it in English first, then we're going to do it in Spanish. Okay? A direct object pronoun in English answers the question, who or what is receiving the action? That's your key thing to remember as we're going over this. Okay? So who or what's receiving the action? Normally in English you have your subject of your sentence, your verb, and then the object you normally find in a regular sentence after the verb in English. I speak English. What's my subject?
I.
What's the verb?
Speak.
What's my object?
English.
Who or what is being spoken?
English.
What is my object of the sentence? What's the object of the sentence? Who or what is being spoken? English. What are we going to replace English with if we want to keep talking about speaking English? Do we have to say English, English, English? No. We replace it with a direct object pronoun. So we replace English, the object of the sentence, with it. We will know from that point on, the whole point of using direct object pronouns is to restate something that's already been said. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be rewriting sentences that have already been written. Okay, so it's if you're speaking or if you're answering a question, normally when I ask you, did you study your reflexive pronouns for the quiz today? Normally you're going to go with a yeah or no. Yes, I studied reflexive pronouns for the quiz today. You don't have to repeat the whole thing. When you're answering questions, you can say, yeah, I studied them. Or no, I didn't study them. Then you know that them is referring to what?
The reflexive pronouns.
The reflexive pronouns. So this is the point of using this. We are going to, instead of answering questions, which is a little bit trickier because you have to deal with the verb, we are going to only look at a regular sentence, replace the object of the sentence with a direct object pronoun. Okay? We have the books. Who or what is being had? What's receiving the action? The books. Replace the books with them. Then you know that it's already been stated. You eat pizza. You eat it. The it is what going to replace pizza, which is the object of the sentence. In English, you have, excuse me, the object at the end, and it stays at the end. In Spanish, notice where it goes right before your verb. Does that sound familiar with something that we just finished doing?
Yes, it sure does.
Your reflexive pronouns go before the verb if we only put the reflexive pronoun before the verb if it's one verb. What happens when we have two verbs? Conjugate the first verb. Don't conjugate the second verb. Put the reflexive pronoun at the end of the second verb. The placement of where you're going to put the pronoun Except for now we're not talking about reflexive pronouns. We're talking about direct object pronouns. You're going to move them before the verb if you have one verb, at the end of the second verb if you have two verbs. So the placement is the same, two very different kinds of pronouns. Reflexive pronouns only deal with if you're doing something to yourself. Direct object pronouns replace, this is the key thing to remember today, it replaces the object receiving the action. So let's do this in Spanish. Yo hablo español. Who or what's being spoken? Español. What am I going to replace español with? Here's the extra step, the extra trick in Spanish. You have to look. Where would you look for if you were conjugating a verb, same thing that we did with pronouns? Where would you look for Spanish? One singular thing in the box. Singular side, plural side.
Left side.
Okay, so left side, left bottom. That's where singular stuff goes. Okay? In Spanish, you have to, this is the extra step because in English things don't have gender. In Spanish they do. So in Spanish, is Spanish, the word Spanish, is it feminine or masculine? Masculine. So you're going to take away Spanish, the thing receiving the action, replace it with the direct object pronoun. Is it okay if I call it DOP from now on?
Yeah.
So I don't have to keep repeating it.
No.
Okay, so
Just say dog.
No.
DOP, direct object pronoun.
Say dog.
Okay. Replace the object with the DOP, put it before the verb. What does this mean?
Speak.
I speak.
You speak. It speaks.
I speak.
Spanish.
We're not saying Spanish again, we're replacing it with,
Low.
which is
It.
Spanish.
it.
I just said that.
I speak it, sorry. We have the books. Nosotros tenemos los libros. We have, replace,
They have. Them have.
We have.
we're replacing the object, listen, replacing the object with the direct object pronoun. We have them referring to the books. Do these two things have anything to do with each other? So you're not thinking as a reflexive pronoun, you're thinking as a direct object pronoun that is replacing the object, receiving the action. We okay so far?
Yeah.
Okay. You eat pizza, you eat it, referring to the pizza. Okay. Let's fill in your notes. We're just going to go through the whole entire thing that we just did. I just wanted to show you an example first before we did the notes. We're filling them in. If you want to jot down at the top of your paper why we're even talking about direct object pronouns, then the purpose is to restate what's already been said. Direct object pronouns, I'm going to call DOPs. If we're not going to listen, you're welcome to do this on your own. Alright, the verb always has to agree with what? Basic Spanish 1.
Pronoun. I mean the subject.
Verb always agrees with your subject. The subject of the sentence is always doing or carrying out the action. Why am I pointing this out? Because when we're talking about direct object pronouns, we do not care about the subject. It has nothing to do with the direct object pronoun. The direct object of a sentence is the person or thing receiving the action. So you'll always find the object of the sentence by asking the question, who or what is receiving the action? Normally you find that object, the direct object, after the verb. So let's pretend that I hit the desk. Who hit the desk?
You.
I'm the subject, I did it. Who received the hit? The desk. What is the object of the sentence? The desk. What is the subject of the sentence? Me. Do I have anything to do with the desk? No. So if you're going to talk later today, it's my own crazy. She hit the desk. She hit it.
The desk hit you, actually.
Who's the it? Did she hit somebody?
We learned
No.
physics, not it.
Okay. Let's do it with a sentence in Spanish. My mom cooks the food. Who or what is receiving the action or being cooked?
The food.
The food. Replace the object, or what is the object of the sentence? The direct object? The food. Just another way to say the same thing. Replace the object of the sentence with a direct object pronoun. I gave you the chart that I just had up there with the DOPs, the direct object pronouns. On the back of your paper, you have it either in the darkened box or on the one on the side that's not so darkened. Both places there. Okay? So, in English, we're going to replace the food with it. Easy. If I want to say my mom cooks the food, she cooks it. We did the same thing in Spanish. My mom cooks the food. Mi madre cocina la comida. Who or what is being cooked? La comida. What's the direct object of the sentence? La comida. Here's your extra step in Spanish. La comida is it feminine or masculine? Singular or plural? Look in the chart and tell me which direct object pronoun would you replace la comida with? La. This la, however, means it. So, this la up here means the food. This DOP, la, I know it looks exactly the same. I don't make up Spanish, I just try to explain it to you. This la means it. So you're going to put it before the verb if it's one verb, or attach it at the end of the second verb if it's two verbs. For right now, we're just going to work with one verb, but if you happen to see two, the placement is the same as reflexive pronouns. So how would we rewrite mi madre cocina la comida with she cooks it? Let me finish this example, then I'll answer your question. My mom cooks it. We replace la comida with la. Where do we put it?
Mi madre cocina la.
Put it before the verb. So you technically don't even need to say your subject again. Your subject is optional because the verb already tells you who did it. All you need is la cocina, which looks like, I know it's a bad example. It's not the word for kitchen. This is the actual verb conjugated for mom. She cooks it. What is the it that she's cooking? The food. So la cocina. She cooks it. If you want to put your subject there, go for it. You don't need it. What you're going to do for homework is do the same exact thing on the back of your paper. Let's go through one more example together. Just know that not every sentence has a direct object. This is just to show you, I drove the car, who or what's being driven, the car is the object. I drove for 3 hours. Hang on. I will write your passes if I need to. I drove for 3 hours, there's no object. Here's the last example before you try some on your own. The boy buys the blanket. Who or what is being bought? Okay, so that's your direct object. Is it feminine, masculine, singular, plural? Feminine, singular. Replace it with the DOP. La. El chico la compra. Put it before the verb. He buys it. Okay, so you're going to try the rest on your own, and we will continue. If you need to stay or if you need a pass, let me know.